where this lyric, I'm Hysterics, Gala, I wouldn't say won them game one, but he was a very big influence in that fight to get them across the line. MVP of game one.
Yeah, Gala looking great as Aphelios doing the damage it needed. He showed up as the big team fight force, and we always joke about Aphelios moments and things like this, but this game was nothing to do with an Aphelios moment too. He made the aggressive play with his ultimate, locking down numerous people and chucking them out.
I mean, good dodge away here, and this was the early bottom lane play that got Gala off the ground.
Yeah, it did. It helped him secure, some easy items. And this was the play we talked about, too, with locking numerous members down, dishing out all the damage, which then kind of confused Junja a little bit. Had him run in Xiaosheng as well. Gave him the picks necessary to get the soul, transition that into a Baron, which then led to them ending the game.
And at the point when you get yourself a nice Mountain Soul paired with Baron, you're kind of unkillable.
Paired with like a four-item Aphelios as well, and things look good.
You know what I miss? I miss the mountain logo, the rotating logo that was on for Soul in spectator mode.
Nope.
That was really nice. I guess with Baron, there's too many things floating around the bottom of the character, but RNG with a game one statement that this could be much like every other RNG series that we've seen, where game one they look exceptional. Let's hope it continues, and let's hope EDG have something to say.
Guys, I've been a believer for too long. I'm not getting baited into believing now. This series is still anyone's game. EDG can come back. EDG fans out there, you can calm down. You're fine. I mean, maybe the fact that you're losing game one is actually a good sign for the series overall. But overall, we were just talking about it off camera that we still think this will be a 3-game series.
Yep.
Even that game show, these teams are neck and neck.
Yeah. I mean, tonight has been the neck and neck series, right? LGD, OMG was a great example of teams finding their highs and lows within a single series. But RNG, EDG, one moment defined that game, and I'm feeling like that'll be a running theme here in this series. Now, I was going to talk a little bit about the mid lane matchup because Scout and Xiaohu, their matchup didn't feel like it was that influential in the end because Scout was walking all over Xiaohu, but it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
But at the same time, right, it did matter in the sense that EDG understood, hey, we need to play around this, and they shut Xiaohu down because this game could have been over much sooner had Xiaohu been unlocked to start freely destiny around the map and set RNG up for success, to where at least now you can come back after the game or after the series, go back and review and point out, hey, we were in control, we clearly lost this ourselves, and, try to improve, learn, and move on from there rather than had it gone any differently.
When Xiaosheng for his debut game in summer had played so well, got a solo kill under turret, and was 3-0 in this cannon, looked fantastic.
And it feels kind of weird because you feel like Junja and Xiaosheng are going to get a lot of flack for their mistake in that team fight, but at the same time, it's like they played the whole early game out so well, and the fact is this obviously shows a deeper issue that none of us from the outside can understand, whether it's shot calling, direction, how communication is being facilitated in game, or just even contrasting ideas where Junja and Xiaosheng think it's the right idea to go and the others don't, but again, there's something under the surface there.
That ulti would have been great if it was maybe, if 10 seconds earlier and the health bars were different and EDG all wanted to go in, that could have been a very different story. We talked heavily about the pick composition that EDG drafted, and RNG very much about either snowball or team fighting later and getting Xiaohu across the map. That didn't happen in the early game, and I'm very curious as to how draft changes for game 2.
Me too, actually, because yeah, you don't expect things to shake out in the same way. Even for RNG, despite the fact that you won, I don't know if you'd really want to gamble on losing out so heavily in the early game.
Yeah.
So, gonna see how it changes up. I mean, obviously, Syndra might either be banned or first pick this time around. I think that's something that's extremely possible, or first rotation on red side. So, a couple things we need to keep our eye on.
Seeing Tabe behind them. And Clear Love on the other side. Two very high esteemed players in the LPL. Everyone knows Clear Love. Everyone should know Tabe back in 2011. Support on IG.
I mean,
sooner than that, he was with Uzi as well.
I mean, Tabe played support pretty recently. Like, what was it, 2018 or something? He played with Rain.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the history.
I mean, I also used to be on a team with Rain. If anyone remembers IG Rain. But,
what, you played?
Well, he used to be one of my players.
Oh.
And, yeah, he used to always kind of joke about the time when he had to play with Tabe support.
What was your first team you coached?
I mean, Machi, technically.
Machi, what year?
End of 2015, beginning of 2016.
Okay. So you know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Not really. Hey, League of Legends is an ever-changing game that you need to constantly stay on top of, or it just completely surpasses you.
Okay. Hey, I agree with that. EDG blue, RNG red. Let's get into game 2. Because RNG, after that performance, where do they go from here? Well, no Lee Sin for you, Xiaolong Bao. Even the Renekton being taken away from you.
And let's remember that last time we saw RNG ban Italy on this side themselves.
Yep.
And now, EDG actually banning out Aphelios on blue, saying, hey, we are not having any of those shenanigans this time around. So things already being quite different.
Volibear was the first pick last time. Did RNG take that away?
Yes, it was. I don't know. Because I still feel like the Syndra is a way more impactful pick. So I feel like if you're EDG, you maybe just take that one now. I don't know. Still just going back towards that Volibear.
Still not going to listen to you.
Yep, no, they're not.
Okay.
For the side of RNG, obviously, now with the Aphelios being gone, if you do want to have that more proactive bot lane and more of a winning lane, it is obviously the Ashe rather than the Ezreal.
Yep.
We do still have a few teams who prefer the Ezreal. Obviously, the big one is Top Esports, but it seems like most other teams have gone much more in favor of the Ashe.
Heading towards an 80 carry in the jungle as well. So Xiaolong getting the Graves once again. Expecting that Junja will rinse and repeat. Ezreal the only thing left open.
One thing I'm surprised is the fact that EDG haven't changed their roster at all. Not in the sense that I think they should have, but EDG are one of our teams that, like, when they lose a game, they are very quick to bring in a different player.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Aldi was that top laner that they invested in. They put faith in as the starting top laner. So thinking that it wasn't a Xiaoshang problem, which I agree with.
So really interesting that with global pressure in both of these comps, this is a matchup we were talking about earlier on in the day.
Yep.
So we're already going to want to see some proactive things coming out from Scout. On the side of RNG, I want to see if they do pair an engage option with the Scalio, because we've seen in the LPL many times where we have the Scalio play more of a protection-based like playstyle, or even just pairing with Xiaolong on the 2v2 with invades, and it doesn't typically work out too well if you don't have a good way to transition into team fights.
I find it funny that we've swapped mid lane champions. Scout doesn't play much TF, like he's had a game on it. Xiaohu is the TF player.
And Scout's been our Galio player. He's had 6 games on Galio. So, yeah, both of them swap. Heck, even in our graphic earlier, we showed the vice versa champions. So, yeah, going to be exciting to see. Definitely feels like EDG knowing they need to take away this pick rather than necessarily wanting to have Scout on it for, just his own reasons.
How does the dynamic shift from here? Support's needed for both teams. Solo laners potentially for both teams as well. The Wukong was taken by New last game.
Yeah, and I want to see if he goes back towards it, because I still think it would pair very well with their comp. They obviously have a strong damage jungler. They have Wukong would be able to bring Galio into the back line. And other than that, I don't really know what option they could go towards.
Okay, Karma, hello. Karma support.
Yeah, that's so interesting too, because it adds a very siege element of their composition where you think about it, Karma, Ashe, and Graves all just sitting in front of a turret, very easy for them to chunk it down, so their comp becoming more neutral focused.
Getting a blast on the pass here from Hope, who will be setting up Mako. Ezreal was set.
I want to see what they go for here, because, right, we still don't technically, we expect to be the support set, but we don't for sure know it's going to be that. I guess you could look for some kind of early E-Flash play out of the Karma and blow a flash early.
When Audi came into this team, he was known for the set top lane. Xiaoshang did play a little bit as well. But let's find out where everything goes, because the Camille would be going blind.
I'm just saying, we've had Camille support in one meta. I think it was Season 7 Summer.
And Mako plays some weird stuff support. He pulled out Lissandra support last time. Anyway, look, assume Camille top at least.
You're no fun hysterics.
I'm not. I'm real.
Yeah, I want to see where RNG go now, because obviously the most expected counter of Camille has always been the Renekton. I was going to say, I was just going to name Jax as the other one. So
he wants to take the matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, it feels very nice for Jax, because think about it. You hook shot in as Camille. Realistically, what can you do? He just opens up his Counter-Strike, wins out. In a trade of autos, Jax will win out. And in all-in, Jax will win out. It really comes down to this war where Xiaoshang needs to heavily play with his W to try to poke out Xiaoshang and then combo with his jungler.
It's very telling that Xiaoshang picks up Camille, where Audi loves his champion too. And again, I'm relating because this is Xiaoshang's first split here in summer, going up against New, who New decides, let's take the counter matchup. This comp's now shifted. Tell me about EDG, because with TF pressure, it feels like there's a bit of prior top side.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to play more of a 1-3-1 style. Actually, both comps, realistically, but it definitely feels like EDG are more heavily indexed into that with the fact that they have a TF who definitely feels better in a side lane rather than the Galio, who's a much more, team-oriented champion.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, though. The music ramps up for a reason. We've changed again.
It's ramping up for the, the really intense, like James Bond villain-esque music with the RNG logo into the gyos. I'm ready. We get those now.
Yeah, we do. Let's run in. RNG EDG. A matchup you don't want to miss. Historical at its best and competitive at its very best as well.
So there's no worst?
There's no worst. Only good here between RNG and EDG. Jax versus Camille. And we got the Ezreal on Hope with Make Go in a set. I know that's not the most exciting. Let's look top as we talk about it. I'm waiting for it. There we go. The dog was there again.
I hope one of you tweeted a quick shot because, yeah, his dog here is massive LPL fan, but, going even a step further than that, like a step. Ooh.
Oh no, we got a level 1 invade. This is why we need to see more. A 4-man shield of Duran, though, from Shao, who, as gold card, will be resurrected. New walking into his deathbed. Counter-Strike hits 3. He wants a trade, but I think RNG have just flubbed up.
Well, Hysterics, this is the potential game 3 we were talking about, but this...
LPL, baby.
I can see what they were thinking, right? You have the Karma, so you have the range support, very strong level 1 champion. You have Galio, so we already saw the Shield of Duran can get a massive taunt, but obviously walking in blind, EDG were ready. EDG picking up 2 kills is absolutely massive, and on their bot lane, no less.
Let's watch again, because they thought, oh, they're going to be in the brush.
Oh, does he just face check?
He does. Oh, my lord.
Yeah, and let's remember, Camille also a very strong level 1 champion with her E, just able to lock someone down, and we see EDG just coming out ahead with the fact of the hook shot coming from the Camille, the gold card from the Twisted Fate. And yeah, just great start from them.
And now, almost a 1K gold lead before this game has even begun.
So the one thing that jumps out to me about the runes is the fact that I remember back in the day when we had this matchup more, you would see a lot of Camille's go towards Comet because, again, you are a lot more about trying to get those short trades off with W and, win out over kind of a poke war, but instead going for the grasp. So still about short trades, but...
Oh, Shield Duran mid. Scout flashes. What a very active early game.
I mean, the last game was active as well, right? It might not have ended high kill, but there was tons of action, and this time around... It's going to be interesting because I always say this when you have a ranged enchanter support is they're very fragile. They're very easy to gank. So typically a team wants to play around them and give them vision so they can freely just hit turret because obviously range against melee, very easy for them to go and get turret plates.
I want you to come back though because despite the invade as set support running into Gala, he has flash. Didn't use it in the last fight with Mantra Inspire. Hope dodges away from the Q. That means the Inner Flame doesn't get the slow, but damage still there thanks to the Spellbinder. Or Spell Thieves, excuse me.
And they're low enough, they can set up for a dive.
Well, let's see. The minion wave in the way of Xiaolong Bao. Just walking down as well. I don't like this lyric. I think EDG can turn it.
Yep, we have TP on both of EDG's soul laners as well.
Xiaolong Bao at half health. Junja's running on in. Over the wall. It will be flash measured out. They get the stun down. And Hope picks up another kill. 2-0 at 3 minutes in the game. RNG. It's time to stop.
Yeah, I think we've all discovered it now. The solution was losing game 1, Hysterics. It's been sitting in front of our faces all along.
Oh, no, EDG knew it was going to happen like this.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, we can see what happened there, right? EDG's bot lane forcing, which ended up with RNG's bot lane winning a trade, but they ended up winning it so heavily it made them think they could dive, but Junja was already pathing towards bot side, so was very easily able to answer that play. And great job by him flashing aggressively, knowing that he had the damage to finish off that kill.
Do win conditions even matter anymore? I was going to ask you, just remind me about EDG, but hang on. You're getting bullied here a little bit. So tell me, just quickly, before we get fighting, how are EDG going to play out the rest of this game? Because they've already won with an Ezreal.
For me, it's about having Scout influence the top lane matchup because despite the fact that Jax definitely comes out ahead in the isolated 1v1, especially as the game goes longer, like early game, as we can see in CS, is pretty close. If you can get this matchup to swing in one way, it could swing extremely hard since it is two, you know, high damage fighter champions, right? If you can get Xiaosheng on an item breakpoint way sooner, he could just end up smashing that side lane for quite a long time.
And then be unmatchable while we hit mid. 3 people here. Mako ready for the face breaker. Xiaohu's just dead. And another kill goes over to this set support.
And Scout didn't even need to be part of it. It was actually just Junja and Mako.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, bruisers in the early game are extremely strong.
And EDG just being super proactive. I don't think we talked about this because it's been set up by that early invade. But Junja having a much better start where RNG were hoping Xiaohu would get to 6 and make something happen elsewhere.
And this kind of an interesting interaction of this matchup is we talked about that Xiaosheng can't really aggressively E in because he will lose out every time.
Yep.
So we do see New trying to force out trades with auto attacks, and he opens for an aggressive trade, and Xiaosheng is forced back.
Interesting lane dynamic. At 6, Lyric, what happens is, oh, Hope a bit too far forward there, champ. A lot of damage coming out of Ming this early on. Haymaker, not as much. Inner Fire hits both Hope and Mako.
And one thing I've loved about Ming is he's always been willing to pull out these types of champions. Let's remember that he's the guy who's consistently willing to pull out Morgana pretty much in any meta. Yeah. It was his pocket pick, you know, in spring and even last year. So Morgana, the Karma, he's always willing to default back to these champions if they look good.
Also helped when Uzi had the pocket Caitlyn.
Yep. Yes, it did.
Pocket.
Yes, it did. Because as you can see, this bot lane functions not exactly in the same way, but you are pushing lane, you are trying to take plates, but to me, the fact that you are an Ashe rather than a Caitlyn, it's a lot more about turning towards Dragon or using your pressure to find picks in the enemy jungle rather than just taking the turret outright.
My attention diverted because Xiaolong Bao is getting hit by a Stormy Bear.
Yes, he is. And the Stormy Bear is a level ahead,
yes,
and he also has pressed the attack this time around, so he's going to do quite a bit of damage in those early trades.
I mean, look, the Bami Cinder already on board. Xiaolong Bao starts up this Dragon. As Gala makes a roam as well, but Junja, Mako, and Hope are all moving.
Xiaosheng is also on his way down, so EDG will have a numbers advantage.
At 1.5k, Destiny now channeled into the back. They've cut off the choke. Gold card locks them down. A 3-man face breaker. Should've ran onto 2 though, but Hope has already picked up the first kill. While damage onto Mako, Xiaohu just wants something in his kit. He'll get it, but over the wall. Hope goes again. Needs a Q, doesn't land it for his 4th kill. And RNG at least gets something, but they lose the war.
And overall, that was just all on Scout, finding that great position to come in, deal a ton of damage to the side of RNG, and pretty much guarantee them bursting out Xiaolong Bao, who, let's also keep in mind, was already tanking the Dragon, so was already about half HP when that fight started. So it wasn't exactly a 4v4. It was more like a 4 versus 3.5.
Okay.
And EDG likes those kinds of odds.
They do. They pick up Cloud off the back of it.
I mean, you can see here, right? Xiaolong Bao's already low. Scout comes in, uses the gold card. Mako flashes in aggressively. It guarantees a kill. Now you're in a 4v3 situation. Mako's still really tanky, so Shuri goes down in the end, but still EDG coming out on top.
Oh, nice shield from me.
That was pretty sad, but still felt good that EDG got the Dragon and, you know, went 1-for-1 in kills.
We've seen an Ezreal this far ahead. Wasn't this early in the game, but just snowball out of control. Jackie Love with Yujanja as a Yuumi. So we'll see where this goes from here. Of course, there is a CS lead in the bottom lane, as they've constantly been pushing, but Hope makes up for that with the early blood and gold he's received because of it. So tell me, RNG do what from here? Because with the Ashe Arrow, with Galio, it feels like there's a lot of lockdowns, there's a lot of global pressure from mid.
Yeah, to me, their comp still screams all bot side, right? We talked about how they have the kind of more fragile bot lane. They also have the aggressive playmaking tools in bot lane with the Shen Crystal Arrow, so very easy to lock someone down. Xiaohu follow up with his ultimate. Xiaolong Bao's there, you have a ton of burst, so to me, you just leave New on an island. It's not the kind of matchup where you need to snowball in his favor like how EDG should want to with the Camille. New eventually will outscale and win it outright, so he's just kind of fine farming and going even.
As now, exec momentum timed perfectly, walks on out of it. Looks for the shield once again. New with a favorable trade back, though.
It was hilarious to where it looks like he outplays and he quickly realizes, wait, though, I still don't win this battle.
Hope walks on up. Good arcane shift away. Xiaolong Bao gets face break it in. 4 members down in the bottom lane. Collateral damage will not secure the kill while Herald goes down. Junja's walking up for his own trade.
And so far, it's panning out how we'd expect, Hysterics, right? EDG playing towards top side while RNG using their tools in the bot lane. Still not able to find a route to bringing Scout up to influence his top side matchup, so he's just going to get himself a bit of plating gold in mid lane.
RNG trading at least something for, despite the early game direction, is better than nothing at all. As Herald not going to be used at this point, and Ning is going to go back. Nice skin.
And when we talk about like scaling and think about how this game's going to eventually progress, I don't feel like it's that clear cut because Hope outranges everyone on the side of RNG, so it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works out. But we do have New, who's going to become this massive side lane threat. I would say in teamfights, I slightly favor Camille for the ease of execution of the sense of you always have the opportunity to Hextech Ultimatum a carry. But again, another facet is, hey, there's a Galio, so you Hextech Ultimatum a carry. Now Galio Ultimate comes and knocks you up. It's like there's going to be a lot of different working parts to the two compositions that RNG and EDG have drafted because they both are set up similarly, right? We have global mids, we have split pushing like dueling top laners.
Let's give a cop-out answer. It's down to execution.
Let's go. I just love sitting on a fence and not committing either way.
No. Look, I shouldn't comment. I couldn't give you such a great detailed answer that you gave me, but
hey, I give a lot of context on like the possibilities. But
hey, you do good.
Ultimately.
Now, I just want to mention, coming back to the game, you've told me, because you instructed me in the ways of playing Jax against Camille, you said you're going to do this. Blade of the Ruined King getting picked up first here against the Camille for the dueling potential.
Yeah, it still kind of surprises me that we don't just see him go straight away for the Triforce. But, I mean, theoretically, you should be able to hit that item spike sooner, and obviously is a lot stronger ever since it got buffed for melee champions, so going to want to look to come online with just straight up
Is this too dangerous? Well, yes, if it is, if it resets.
There we go. EDG gave you the answer.
Okay. There's still 1,500 gold ahead. 1,300, sorry. We've got a Dragon coming up.
But let's also remember that EDG have the Rift Herald, too. So they haven't dropped that yet. With Dragon coming up, maybe we see them use it to pressure. But as we said in the previous series, when you do have these kinds of global ultimates...
Hang on, Destiny Use over the wall. Junja wasn't spotted out, and that's the undoing of Xiaolong Bao. Right in front of the Dragon spawning. Ghost Use, they're diving Xiaohu.
They have Rift Herald.
Gold card. Xiaohu getting the Nimbus Cloak. Based off the heal. As you mentioned, the Herald's going to be put on down. Junja tanking for a little bit, but not for long. Gold's going to go to these fed members. And spread throughout.
And I love it because I didn't have to make the point. Or EDG made the point for me. I was going to say, ooh,
hang on, Jump Punch flushed away from. Gold card used, but there's no damage to follow up.
Whenever you have these types of global mid laners, I feel like taking mid lane turret is just so nice because, again, being able to push your wave against them deeper and keep them towards your inner turret really stops them from being able to make a wide range of global plays.
Hang on, let's watch this one, though. Xiaoshang dodges away from the Counter-Strike, but doesn't feel confident to now force that into a Hextech Ultimatum.
Nope, and we did see the power of his passive shield. It is one of the areas where you can try to win out in short trades against Jax. And right, this is the name of the game for Camille. Short trades as compared to New, who wants to take extended trades.
I was going to ask you a deeper question. What he would be maxing in this matchup. We've seen a lot of hookshot max, but Q, the precision protocol, is the usual do for the Camille.
Yeah, I would still expect it to be the Q. I know it's what it used to be like back in the day, but that was way before.
It's gone back and forth like the hookshot.
I was gonna say that was back in like 2017, where if you remember, Camille was like first pick or ban, like OP, and obviously she's gotten a ton of different numbers, buffs, and nerfs since then. Mostly nerfs.
So cute.
Yep, has been Q.
As we're now going to watch the matchup yet again. There's a shield. Is Xiaoshang going to go for the 1v1? Well, we pause because Xiaolong Bao ported out by Junja once again. Collateral damage over the wall. True Shot Barrage does not connect. Well, Scout's top side. Xiaohu forced to teleport in as well. They want some turret plating.
But they are locked between two members. Here.
But hang on. Xiaoshang is actually backing away. Scout just wants to save a bit of turret plating. That's fair.
Hey, and I guess it works out for EDG when... Oh, God.
Xiaolong Bao, there is a bear in there.
Oh, God. What's going to happen? Is there...
No, end of the line is secured. I was
looking at the map, and I'm like, there's no way any other members are going to come interact with this dragon. It's purely a 1v1. What is Xiaolong Bao going to do?
As the Mafia would say, sometimes you got to take from a bear, you know?
Is that really a saying?
I don't know. I've never been in the Mafia. I've watched The
I was
Sopranos.
gonna say, I felt like
That's
there's like a Sopranos or Godfather reference or something coming, but
I think actually before Raz left, he was watching The Sopranos. I wonder if he's still watching it. Very good show. If anyone hasn't watched The Sopranos, one of the best 80s or 90s.
The Godfather, The Goodfellas, another good movie in that vein.
Just want to say, James Gandolfini is a great actor. Goodfellas, you're right. Another good one.
Goodfellas is great.
Well, there's a time period of all those movies like coming out, right?
I mean, I'd assume so because it's all the same actors in all of them, and they're all like the same ages.
Yeah.
So there literally has to be like a 10-year span.
To be in a Mafia movie, you have to be like 40 years old.
Can you imagine if they all just? I don't even. Actually, I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole. Never mind.
Okay, all right.
I was gonna like go with those like immortality, fountain of youth type like conspiracy theories.
For the Mafia.
Not for the Mafia, for that like group of actors who are in all those movies.
Oh yeah. Well, to be fair, James Gandolfini's dead, so I guess not.
Yes.
I mean, no.
This got like a really depressing sad route.
Yeah,
so.
he was a great actor.
He was amazing. He was amazing. So.
Oh, Chenikazara dodged away from. Scout now sees Ming. Gala with a noble attempt, but RNG right now looking for windows because they're 3k gold behind. They're losing Dragons with an Infernal Rift on the horizon. And that big Ezreal that we saw earlier in the game, still sitting on 3 kills with almost 2 items. And Junja, with the Herald, has utter control of the Rift.
Yeah, and you do expect EDG to just be able to pick this one for free. And they're probably going to trade side lane turrets to where, New might get dove if he doesn't back off sooner. All of EDG are going to be on this half of the map. And Scout still has Destiny, by the way.
They go with ulti, which comes first. Destiny now channeled in.
Goodbye, Mr. New. We
see.
do have Galio ultimate.
If he turns onto Xiaoshun, something could happen. Hextech ultimatum in, the wings fly. Gold card dodged away from, but thank you to Mako. That's what you should be saying. Jumps back onto Xiaoshun. Much closer in a 1 versus 4 than it should have been, as Herald gets channeled and RNG are pushing bot.
Yeah, and I'm glad Xiaohu didn't end up using the Galio ultimate to, go to a certain depth. So good job, Xiaohu, not following your bro in. But overall, on a serious note, great job to EDG making that play, but still, it gave RNG a ton of time to get 2 turrets on bot. But it looks like EDG might be able to equal the trade.
No one there from RNG, while you see mid with the turret going down, you get freedom of the wave to hope. So a trade is a trade, and the fact that it hasn't gone above 3k gold with that early game devastation is still notable for RNG.
Yeah, and like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how the dynamics of the comps end up working out to where
execution.
You can see to where EDG are definitely going to end up in this 1-3-1 setup with Twisted Fate in the side lane, Camille in the other side lane. And then it's kind of going to be both. I assume Juja wants to play more around his 3-man core to where if Xiaohu is sent to a side lane to answer for Scout, Xiao and Bao can go to answer, and you have this very strong 2v2 to just burst out the Twisted Fate.
Okay.
And see if that can turn into anything. But then on vice versa, right? We mentioned that Hope outranges RNG. The trade-off is the fact that, well, Gala does have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, so you do have more pick potential if you do go for these types of evades.
Hang on, Hero's Entrance going to be used. The Face Breaker flashed away after Mako gets it down. Enchanted Crystal Arrow locks him down. Shielded around with the Justice Punch, and he's just dead. Junja in late to the party with Scout joining that said party. Xiaoshang over the wall, ready in, gets the first kill. The gold card onto Gala. Ming low, and Gala even lower. Poked on down as it's close from Hope with the Mystic shot. Xiaoshang ready to follow up. Hook shot, wall shot, almost up and available. But RNG back away. That was a tense one.
And these two teams are so close.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we need to say it, but they're just showing us that mechanically they're both on point. When it comes to shot calling, they both have clear ideas of how they want to play out the game. And EDG still with the lead, but as we saw from game 1, it's not over yet.
But we can see Xiaoshang getting some more resources, picked up a kill at the back end of that fight while New has not. 1 versus 1, a level advantage. The flash from New. Hextech ultimatum is available though, but the rest of EDG are coming down to support his brethren. Ulti used, and New's gonna die here. It was close, but once again, Xiaoshang has bros.
I was gonna say, this feels like one of those solo queue players who, again, you pick something like the Jax, the Fiora, the Camille's, you get set behind your 0-2, the enemy's been camping you. You're just so frustrated. You just want the isolated 1v1.
Oh, the all chat comes out and you say, bro, you need your friends
exactly.
to beat me, 1v1 me.
What, 2v1, 3v1, come on, you pick Camille, fight me. And, ends up getting baited into the whole team. And, it's going to snowball out of control maybe to like a 0-10 Jax. Not to, give any bad omens for New because He has obviously shown he understands how this matchup is played and
course.
has done quite well in those isolated trades.
But now 0-3, as you mentioned. And
You're
plus
on
this Dragon's
Soul
going down.
Point,
Yep.
Hysterics.
And that gold
How
leads
did
up
we
to
get
4K.
here?
With an early game that just needs to be admired.
And we talked about this last time, I think it was on the RNG FPX day, that why is it so obvious to predict how many games we're going to go to on the day? We said today's going to be 6. We guessed that before the broadcast, and it's looking like we're going to 6.
Especially with the way EDG are going. RNG setting up a play on the top side. Meanwhile, they can't find anything of it. I want to take stock of items because Weezer are heading towards a Baron.
Yes, we are.
Let's see who does it early enough.
I mean, it looks like across the board we're at pretty much a 2-item mark for the side of EDG, where we look at RNG, right? They're still sitting on the 1.5 item components. Xiaohu especially only having the Proto Belt, Blade of the Rune King only out for Gala. So not looking good if we get into any fights. I mean, we've already seen you have no real good way of locking down Hope regardless. Like, you think about it, your only lockdowns in Enchanted Crystal Arrow, he's E is flashing and dodge that quite easily. So despite the fact that, you know, I've been sitting on the fence not making a call of who should win late game team fights, at least the fact that Hope is pretty much unchained feels like it'll be quite hard for RNG unless Neil can really destroy Xiaosheng in a 1v1.
See, my curiosity is that Xiaosheng already in the 1 versus 1. It's all about the Counter-Strike hitting from what it seems to be on screen. But at what item breakpoint does New become unmatchable?
I think it'll be 3. I was going to say, like, I feel like at 3 items will be the point where he could probably just dive the inhibitor turret and kill Xiaosheng outright.
Okay.
So that will be what we need to
So
keep.
Trinity into like Sterix Gauge or
yeah,
something?
something along those lines, right? But we'll have to see if this game... I mean, heck, we have Soul in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Do we have time for 2 more items on a Jax?
Not really.
We saw him buy a Ruby Crystal, which kind of signals he might be going into a Sterix second.
I was thinking about it a bit, sold it, bought it again. As Colonel, get off the screen.
Going into Triforce right now would be so expensive, right?
Yeah.
It'd be way too hard.
So maybe the Sterix is an optimal second item.
We have seen some Jaxes go for Black Cleavers as well, which I think is maybe not the best route, but...
Would you early GA, or is it just not worth it?
I don't think it's worth it. I think getting some HP, again, something like a Sterix I think makes sense to me.
In the past, we've seen like 3rd, 4th item in Jax's, depending on matchup, can be like the Randall's Omen or Dead Man's Plague.
I remember we used to have like, what was it, the tanky Tiamat, what's it called?
Oh, the Titanic Hydra.
There we go, Titanic Hydra. Thank you so much, sir.
No
but
worries.
yeah, I remember back in the day we used to see that, which was always weird to me.
Yeah.
But obviously, rest in peace, Spear of Sojin.
That was great on him.
You will be remembered fondly in my heart.
As Gala actually might be called out. Hextech ultimatum onto this Ash. The Globals are coming in hot though as he goes golden in the midst of Xiaohu, but dunks back into Hope. A 2-man shield is ran by him. Hope to RNG while it is a trade-off into the top laner. Yu's not in yet, but Junja's been pulled on in. However, Hope has got a double, and this Ezreal untouched.
Well, and EDG are showing us how these scraps work. It's Hope's going to be untouched, so no matter what, if you could pick some people off, as long as EDG can take out Gala, the DPS is pretty much gone on the side of RNG. It's too hard for New to get in there. He's a melee champion, obviously. Xiaolongbao as well is much more burst-oriented, so overall, the key player to me in that was Mako.
Yep. Great
job for him to wrap around, get that ultimate onto Gala, and pretty much just make sure that he's going to die.
Mako's had a great game.
Mako's such a confusing player to me because we talked about how slow start in spring. Early on, we're saying, hey, looks kind of mediocre. Came in second half, looked amazing. Was roaming around the map, making great plays, coming back into that star Mako form. This split been kind of inconsistent. We've seen flashes of both. We've seen him get strong 2v2 kills in lane, and we're like, this is beautiful. We've also seen him have some really terrible games.
Yeah.
Their last one against EDG was definitely a standout, just bad performance for Mako. So it goes back to the systemic issues we've talked about for EDG as a whole, where their players are all good, but they just aren't on the same page. Their dynamic doesn't always work out the best. The shot calling clearly not there.
Level of consistency question, but having Hope back in, because it was BBD for a couple of weeks, is good. Hope has been a star since joining as the main AD carry of EDG. Now that iBoy's left, as you can see this game, he's 5-0-3. There is a Caulfield's Warhammer and a QSS, considering that Death Stance is coming in, most likely soon.
And at the same time, we see with the fact that Infernal Soul's coming up, New can't go to a side lane. He needs to group. They need to try to 5-man gather pressure through mid and then walk into the enemy jungle where EDG have all the vision, so they're still probably going to come out on top, but...
I mean, Hope's doing this himself.
They have no lockdown. They have no good engage. Okay, throw out the Enchant Crystal Arrow. I press E. Now what do you do, RNG? Yep. Wahaha, you know? It's
Xiao doing the same thing as well. He's got 3 items himself. Easiest Infernal Soul of EDG's life. A Game 3 feels imminent. And EDG are heading towards that. Next on the menu comes the big purple worm.
You know what we said in draft and what I complain about pretty much every time we see this Galio is,
what is it?
Give me Galio with some sort of engage option.
Yeah.
If you're going to give me this Galio that's more about playing for your Graves and Ashe, it's like, at least give me like Galio Aphelios, where I understand you're just playing around this champion that literally can 1v9 the game.
That's true.
So, but instead, yeah, we didn't get that. We got the
At least you got
Graves
Jax.
combo.
You know, Jax, if he ever gets towards 4 or 5 items.
True. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Because the Galio in this comp, it makes sense. You're also playing for the early Graves invades where you're supporting him early. You're hopefully accelerating the game through that means. You obviously always have a way to answer the Jackson top lane, but like my point is, even if like theoretically you can understand how it wants to play out the game, we haven't seen it work, and it doesn't. It just looks so easy to play around a lack of engage.
Yeah.
Especially when you do have things like Zoes and Ezreals and things along these lines where they now do get to freely poke you. It's very easy to outrange a comp right now. It feels like a lot of our more poke-oriented champions are strong.
It's kind of interesting that we're still hovering towards it, right, as a priority in draft, when things like, I guess, TF appear, which are easy to situate.
Yeah, I feel like TF, again, despite the fact you have a lot of bad matchups, can fit into a lot of different comps, right? You can play in a 1-3-1 setup. You can surround him with teamfight champions, as RNG did last game. So there's definitely tools. You can put him in a 1-4 composition as well. That's so true. Definitely way more flexibility.
As his rapid fire cannon will be coming in as his 4th item. Yeah. Always love to see that.
Me too. It's always a fun one, and just great getting that extended range for that gold card. It really just does make it worth it based off that fact alone.
I'm just watching that side lane. The damage is coming out onto the minion wave from Xiao.
Look, he's about to hit his 4th item, to where Xiao is only on 2. Doesn't even have a component for his 3rd item built yet.
Hey, news going off into the distance. There was some pressure around the Baron buff. RNG now feel obliged to go and check it. And Scout's going to be spotted out on the top side. Can they really get anything out of this TF? It seems like RNG know the answer's no. Xiaoshang in a 1 versus 1. I want to see this again. Components to Triforce on the way for New. He's close.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that they have Infernal, right, you would assume the Camille wins this duel at this point, but I mean, with how we've seen it going so far, you really never have an idea. I feel like at some point, EDG are just going to have to force a Baron play. Like, EDG have 2 options at this point. You either send Scout bot and try to pick off Jax, which is hard when RNG have a Galio, so he can easily react, or you just go straight to Baron, which feels like the more optimal play to make. You don't gamble, but at least try to force out the Jax TP or something along those lines. You also have the Infernal Soul, so you feel fine just baiting a team fight. But EDG are definitely much slower and more methodical than that. I feel like they're just going to wait for someone to overstep and try to use Destiny to pick someone off.
They do, however, have to clear out the vision around Baron. We saw RNG with a really good place ward outside the pit. An area of the pit that is always really hard to scan for. Well, not if you're walking towards Baron, but you know what I mean. Reset timing here from EDG. There's also the potential of an Elder Dragon in 2.5 minutes.
I like that you mentioned that ward, though, because that ward and the one that you would put on the other side as well are always the ones that elude teams, despite the fact that they're so common now. I remember last year in Flamingo, those were the ones that, like, it would just be like some mindless thing you just forget about.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that ward, once it catches you out. But
it's weird because if you pixel brush control ward, then you spot it out. Especially on that side.
Well, exactly. The one that would be on the top side would be much harder to catch out because you don't typically control ward that upper river brush at this stage of the game. But still, you know it's there.
Hang on, Mako's going to walk into trouble here. Zoned on out. Haymaker for the shield. Flashes away. Junja helps him for now, but the slow from Gull and collateral damage taking him down, storming over the wall. RNG have found their picks, and they ain't letting this bear go.
Hysterics, how do we end up in this position again?
Because RNG say go, and now towards the Baron, they're going to do exactly that. 3 versus 5.
And this time it's Mako just face-checking vision. All of RNG are there. The rest of your members aren't there to follow up. Hope was nowhere near. This might give RNG the game.
Window back into it at the very least, and to get back some of that gold. True Shot Barrage will not steal it. Baron acquired.
So this does two things for RNG. One, it now gives you an avenue for New to at least put some pressure in a side lane. And two, it now gives you a good, like, it's not going to make you win team fights necessarily, but gives you the push to get vision for Elder.
As you said, Mako going for a deep ward.
Look where Hope is on the map, right? It's just Mako just going somewhere he necessarily shouldn't be at this point. He gets caught out, but again, they have Infernal Soul. They're still favored in fights right now. The thing to keep your eye on is how RNG utilizes Baron push to get vision for Elder to try to set up for a advantageous fight for this objective.
Especially when you have a Jax on the side of the map that now has Trinity Force and the Kindle Gem building towards what could be that Spirit Visage slash.
He did go for the Triforce like we talked about, which was a bit risky, right? But ended up actually having the time to get it.
Elder up in 40 seconds, though. And that fight you're talking about, the setup that RNG can build off this Baron, is going to be eminent in those next couple of seconds. They have to start moving down now and getting ready.
And it's still going to be tough, right? They're still down about 4K gold. They're down items, which is what that means, and they're down an Infernal Soul. So EDG definitely still have the items and damage to go toe-to-toe in a straight-up 5v5.
Hope can get the poke. The arrow misses, though.
Oh, God. Look at that Q.
New setup with the Counter-Strike, and you're talking about Hope with the Infernal Soul. This guy's firing left, right, and center. And with the Baron buff mid, this is slowing down EDG, but Elder is spawning.
I mean, at least as EDG, you potentially throw when you already have Infernal Soul, while you have an Ezreal against a team comp with no hard engage.
They're going to spot this out, getting started out by the two members. RNG have to walk through the river. Mako has ulti as well to nail them into the wall. News going head first. Juju and Xiaosheng ready to turn this around. Destiny into the backline from Scout, who has the gold card. The engage from Xiaosheng may have nailed down the game here, but he's getting low and drops down. Scout trying to run in to bring back the fight because Hope just does so much at this point in the game. And EDG rely on him, take the rest of the fight, and bring the game right back.
And overall, RNG just don't have the damage EDG do. You've already mentioned Hope many times, and with 40-second death timers, looks like they're just going to push through bot and try to end out the game.
All right, Gala up in 25, Ming in 20. And you're right, with this pushing power, EDG could have secured the game 3.
They still have Infernal, so they still feel comfortable to go forward. Obviously, Junja super tanky, can look for a dive.
Baron helping defend at this point, though, from Xiaohu. But the Nexus turrets are squishy enough, and EDG say no. With this big minion wave, Xiaohu is held on.
Well, we see pings going down towards Elder. Xiaolongbao won't be up. It will be hard for him to get there. Xiaosheng does have TP. New doesn't. Oh, wow.
Mako backing. Spotted out in the back. I would stop Hope. And this is not the right time for a replay, but we'll be quick.
I mean, realistically, right, this is just the fact that EDG just have more damage. Like, they go in onto RNG, RNG gets a couple members low, but keep your eyes on Hope. He's just dishing out free damage in the backline consistently, using the Infernal Drakes as well as the Soul to win out those exchanges.
EDG winning the fight, pushing through bot, open inhibitor. RNG is starting up the Elder as EDG have reset.
They need to gamble at this point, Hysterics. You need to go for some kind of 50-50 play and hope you get this objective so you can try to come out in a team fight.
True Shot Barrage nailed them down. Backline RNG do get it though now for the fight. This could be their way back as Scout almost goes down. The Elder security there from New 4 versus 5 and EDG are down an objective.
How does this keep happening, Hysterics? Why EDG every time? You know, the crazy thing is, even off the base push, it felt like they were in a better position to get it because Xiaosheng had TP. You TP him in, New doesn't have TP, Xiaolongbao still wasn't even up yet. Sure, you're worrying about a potential 5v3 where you don't all have full health bars, but my God, just blunder after blunder for EDG. I'm going to use the word blunder. That's how bad it is.
RNG are like, we'll take those. 3K is all that separates from them from EDG. A team fight win, they can try and end through bot.
I mean,
RNG going to start with mid.
The question keeps coming back to the same statement I keep saying. Can they get onto Hope? Because if they can't get onto Hope, I don't know how good this Elder's going to do them.
Okay, well, at least for now, Hope, True Shot Barrage, he was caught out through mid. They jump on in, and Hope had such a good game until now. Execution time as RNG just laugh in his face. Scout is running home, but the wrong way.
EDG fans, I'm sorry that I just cursed you, but RNG finding the pick they need.
Out.
Scout, though, taking away the wave. That was actually really clutch.
Yep. I thought he was just really tilted from his bottom lane to play and running up mid.
I knew what he was doing, but I didn't know that RNG had literally no minions. So,
So
they keep the game.
Stalemate.
So, EDG fans, I take back my apology. It's not over.
But I have to say, Hope and Mako have had a great game. That was pretty
This
bad.
was so nice from RNG, though, to find this opportunity. Goes for the ultimate to clear the wave. Gives RNG a moment to all funnel on top of you. And if there's one thing we said in Game 1, right, was that they did have that killer instinct to just jump on a target when it was available.
Yeah, did exactly that. RNG have equaled this gold up. It's to a point where it really doesn't matter that much anymore. Final items are coming across, and that Elder will expire in 30 seconds, but more importantly, the Baron's coming up in 15. RNG are resetting EDG back out on the map. And we're doing this one again. Of course, it's going to be another long series because these teams close the games out pretty slow.
Yep, and also, just to keep track of items, New did go for that Black Cleaver in the end, so he's sitting at a pretty strong point now where he's extremely tanky, wins out in the duels. Obviously, the fact that he has a lot of HP built into his items means he's also kind of fine to look for these skirmishes, even though it's not ideal as a Jax.
But I'm curious because, look, we'll double check on top lane items. We've got a GA here for Xiao Shang.
And we have Scout, though, looking to hard play through side lanes.
Okay, EDG have the shove. They've got control over Baron. Scout here threatening the open inhib. Someone's got to respond.
It's going to be New. New has the TP up, so Xiaohu does have Spellbook, so he potentially could just swap to it.
Where's he going? To the rest of the team. There's a numbers disadvantage because two people reacted. Tentacles arrow, though, used with Icon. Or sorry, not Icon. Xiaohu coming back in. The Bears out with Xiaoshang in the backline, exhausted down. He has GA, but EDG have abandoned him. Not even Hope wants to go on in. And EDG, are you okay?
There's no words, there's no words anymore. I mean, there's words for RNG that they continuously come out on top of these exchanges, but
because they had a numbers advantage.
They did have a numbers advantage. They did. And Hope was literally left untouched on the side. He was just there. He could have dealt free damage if all of EDG were together. They didn't need to look for such a deep backline play. But, you know, Xiao Shang has not got much playtime. I feel like we do give him a bit of a pass.
He had a good side lane performance. As RNG now, with that big death timer, they want to start up the Baron. They're going to commit their own TP. Let's go.
You don't need engage if you can force the enemy team to engage onto you.
Two-shot barrage shielded around you. Xiaohu with the gap close here. Hope in the backline once again. You and Scout are beefing it out while Mako goes down. Back into the Baron, but low health bars. This is where Hope shines as Gala running forward. Goes into GA. Baron is secure, but Hope is the shining light. Needs to live on. Xiaohu goes golden. The TP comes through as Xiaoshang has respawned. Junja into the backline. On top of Gala, who gets a massive shield from Ming, but the blunder this time will be mixed around. As Xiaoshang gets a double, chasing after Xiao Longbao. The movement speed needed. Here comes the Camille. Slow down. Flash forward. Hextech ultimatum's there. And Xiao Longbao will meet his maker as well.
This game is absolutely nuts.
Oh no, we're doing this again. Going. Now, who wins in the matchup? You said 3-item Jax.
3-item Jax. Come on, Asterix. 3.5 item Jax.
Death Dance in Xiaoshang's pocket.
More. He's like so close to being able to pick up that Asterix.
Holy dooly. What happens next?
I don't even know. Does EDG just look to push? Because they have 3 up. Xiaohu's going to be up in 17 seconds, Ming in 10, but it looks like it could probably be 2 inhibitors by the time anyone can answer.
Break this inhibitor turret with inhibitor underneath and bottom side 2. New threatening that has the Baron buff. That means the minion wave going to be coming up very shortly. If that Nexus was exposed, maybe it would be a different story, but the game goes on anyway, 38 minutes in.
Hey, and now you get to just funnel some gold onto your Jax with that open inhibitor, but still, obviously Elder Drake is coming back up. It's what we're keeping our eye on. For RNG, I really feel like they need to be on the objective first. It's very hard for them to just walk in blind this time around with this composition. To where we've already said, hey, EDG have like good frontliners set, or Volibear can very easily walk in. You have the Destiny coming out for, you know, easy vision as well.
Well, Elder's up. Ready to go again.
And we still have Infernal Soul for EDG. We need to keep pointing that out.
Open inhibitor mid. Here's the engage onto the volley, but the Tentacles arrow negated, but Junja's still caught out with Mako. Teleport going to be used. EDG. Hope also caught out there. Has to cleanse and flash away.
At the end of the day, though, he's still not dead. So he like, all the members are still full HP, still full mana. And RNG wasted a ton of tools to do that.
True Shot Barrage through Ming with the shield, the Inspire at this point in the game. Let me tell you one thing as a Karma main, this is your time to shine.
Yeah, and overall, we're keeping our eye on Gala.
Junja needs a steal here. RNG is still doing it. The poke from Hope at 3K. 2K, the Elder will secure this game. Into the back, it's taken by you. And RNG now just need to kill them all. Running into EDG, that's all she wrote.
And up against their fiercest rival, RNG do it again, Hysterics.
All they need to do is keep this down mid. 2 minions available. Scout's going to try and delay this game, but New's going to run into him, and RNG are now headed for the base.
They can just tank it at this point. It doesn't matter. Even New having the TP can just go and get onto a minion quite easily. This is a done deal.
A game that EDG got double first blood in. RNG are walking it down and are going to destroy the Nexus. EDG will bow their head while RNG rise again.
If there's one thing we've learned, is that an EDG RNG series always delivers some of the most fun games you can watch. No matter the result, no matter who you are a fan of, if you're a fan of exciting League of Legends or just the LPL in general, this is always a great one.
Good to see RNG decisive.
It's so insane. How did they win this game? They gave up Infernal so early on. EDG were dictating all the moves, but again, when RNG want to turn it on, they always do it. Like, when one member goes in for the pick, they're all just so easily able to follow through. And man, we need to give Gala some credit because he is playing so well, doing way better than I'm sure anyone's expectation. And RNG, giving hope again, Hysterics. I'm scared.
All right, Shahu Appreciationist is back on the field. 5-4 for RNG. They're positive now. And you have to start thinking that not only Shao Lombao with some of the steals and securities over the neutral objectives, but the bottom lane of RNG with Gala is something big to spruik about. There's a bottom lane that people start getting behind.
Like, Gala, Ming had an amazing series as well. I'm so hyped, and I was someone who fiercely fought for, Betty on this team because he was always fine, but man,
you don't need fine, you want great.
Exactly. I mean, that's what this brings. You see a decisiveness. You see, we keep using the term killer instinct. You see this just willingness to go in and make the clutch play that's needed that clearly Gala and Ming bring to the roster that Betty and Ming didn't.
I mean, there's this point of realization that you go back through that game and you notice that Gala landed every Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Much better this time around for sure.
Apparently better AD carry wins, even though Hope was so damn fed. Caught out many times thanks to Gala. And then Ming's Karma, as usual, the spellcaster just works so much better in his hands.
And you know what's so disappointing is we saw in the mid game how this is supposed to work. We saw that no one was ever able to get onto Hope. Not until Hope started making mistakes himself. And that it was just EDG continuously, Mako face-checking topside. Xiaosheng over-committing for a pick when Hope was still left to touch and they could have just won that fight outright.
That's right.
In the mid lane where Hope goes for the ultimate, like, it was
even just before we saw him use the Mercurial Scimitar.
Yeah.
When there was no pressure on him at all, he knew RNG were coming up through River. So there's a big question towards EDG. I'll sign them off in a second after we have a look at this because EDG had control of that game. And it turns out Gala did the most damage and New as well.
And let's remember that. Oh wait, actually, this is insane to me for the fact that we even Ezreal that had Infernal Soul, that had a 1-item advantage for most of the game, and he's not topping the damage.
He was 3-0 by 8 minutes or something in the game.
I want to ignore the 6.5k gold. I want to instead turn that into they had a 1-item advantage over all their counterparts, and they had Infernal Soul.
The whole game.
Yeah, the whole game. It was, and I don't want to harp on EDG too much because, we know that EDG has these problems. Like, this has been EDG's problem all year, but especially more evidently all split. And it's like, I like that they brought in some change. They realized something needs to be done. Now it's just about, man, where? So what happens?
The suspicion started against WE. It was the first week where it's like, okay, we'll give EDG a couple of bits of credit because in the past they've been a good team that, will roll with the punches. But it continued throughout DMO, JDG, their last series.
Their WE series, I was so impressed. Me and you
Yep.
were talking about it so often where it's like, you asked me what I thought I remembered. I'm like, well, WE won, but EDG was the better team in that series. And I mean, now they just look lost.
I mean, that was a game, too, that should have been in their hands. You mentioned hope. There was a lot of questions there.
Even game one, right? Even game one, they were winning. It was,
They had control, and then RNG took it right back. In a similar fashion this game, we'll leave EDG there 3-6. A lot of problems ahead here for EDG fans. And let's just say your summer, again, this year is not looking pretty.
yeah, it's disappointing because EDG is such a fun team that you always want to see in the big playoff moments. So, you know, hopefully we can see them turn it around somehow, but...
That's EDG's page. It's on the ground. It'll be burnt later.
See? He's...
Let's talk about
Harsh.
RNG. RNG with an impressive performance to make their way back in both those games. 5-4 now. And I'm hoping to see Gala forward. It needs to be Gala
I have a
forward.
feeling that we will be, but at the same time, you know what's surprising to me is we set up RNG consistently as this team that wants to snowball. And they always were, right? They always did pick the Pantheons, the Elises, the Nidalees, things along this line. And now we see them going more for this late game and team fight style. Now that they're bringing Gala into the roster, which makes sense. I guess even this draft wasn't necessarily late game focused. You are, you know, playing around in Ash comp, but still, the fact is they're coming out ahead in late game scenarios, no matter what their comp is meant to do, and that's a new and exciting feeling for RNG.
At least a stable feeling for RNG fans, where the drafts have been a big point of question in 2020 spring, in previous years as well. Now, with that stability going forward, RNG fans, I'd be curious as to their thoughts on this
I mean,
one.
I still feel like RNG is another team that falls under that category of teams whose biggest enemy at the end of the day is themselves, because they're a team that's shown they can go toe-to-toe with anyone, they can get their own advantages. They have a ton of skill on this roster, but, you know, when it comes down to them having a 5K gold lead, they're very willing to throw it. They don't know what to do, just things like this. But this game, and even last year's their loss against FPX, them kind of working Gala into the roster, because if they had more time with Gala against FPX, I really believe that would have been a win.
Absolutely.
I truly believe it, to where this one, amazing.
He gets a highlight here, Gala in game 2. We'll have a quick look at how he performed. Only positive things in this 40-minute game, where just watching Gala throughout, his arrow's on point.
Yeah, he hit that arrow dissuading them from coming in, and even here, he was like the sole DPS for the team pretty much at this point. Of course, Shallenbaugh had some damage. New as well was fed, but very hard for Jax to really realistically get on the back line, and he did such a good job in these fights, as we can see here. Just playing so optimally, especially with Ning at his side. Not Ning, Ming.
I didn't know. Oh, yeah.
I was going to say. That'd be weird.
I mean, Ming at the end. I love how we're looking at Gala highlights, kind of like EDG destroying them, because this game should have been in EDG's pocket. But this last play, where just the DPS was...
Just great job by RNG, and realistically, was EDG just kind of all getting into that choke point, allowing for the, you know, a great taunt from Xiaohu, a great counter-strike coming in from Jax, just unlimited CC, and 32% of the damage in this composition was what he needed to do, and the man got it done.
He definitely did. Promising things from Gala running forward, and considering their schedule, I have to say that RNG are going to be favorites in some of these. We'll just run through it quickly as we go through our MVP. Next, on Thursday, they have Suiting. Then we get the IG El Clasico, which I think you and I are doing as well. I think you and I are doing RNG IG. One I always look forward to.
What day is that?
That's on a Saturday.
Oh, potentially.
You and I are doing that. Or me and Dagda. And then LGD on the Friday after that.
Wait, you mean you and Munchables aren't casting a series together?
Thank God, Munchables is already sick of me. Don't worry, he doesn't need to hear me. He's already got his bad British plus. LGD as well. I mean, a team that is kind of on the cusp.
I mean, all three of these are going to be real tests, right? I mean, Sunni have looked better. IG is always IG.
IG's like this series where it's like RNG always have a habit of stepping.
You know what's funny about RNG versus LGDs? We're getting Gala versus Mark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. And both of them have benefited massively since changing teams. And Gala, I mean, especially, is really impressive in the two series so far.
Out of left field.
Well, and the funny thing is, I know for a long time people considered Mark the better of the two.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, right now, Gala is the one impressing me, and Mark is the one having some missteps on LGD. So I'm excited to see that one.
That'll be coming up. That's in a couple of weeks' time, though, on a Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. Let's have a look and see what you missed out on if you're tuning in now. Almost 6 game days, but RNG managed to say no way.
You know what's hilarious is that this really could have been a 2-0 for EDG.
Yep.
And it just complete in the opposite direction. So sad to see for EDG, great for RNG. And, you know, LGD overall coming out with an important win. And OMG, though, in Game 1, massively impressive.
Oh, yeah. They improved, and then they didn't for the rest of the series, unfortunately, with LGD kind of getting back into form. A big win for them as we move forward to tomorrow. Remember, the English broadcast continues up until Wednesday.
Ooh.
And this is what we're waiting for. PP God versus Crisp. But more importantly, V5 at number 2 at the moment. Top Esports number 1. This is the true test of the league.
Yeah, it's number 2 except number 1, but yeah, it is PB God against Yu Yanja.
Ah, what did I say?
You said Chris.
I'm living in the past.
You are living in the best, but still, your point stands. I'm sorry to call you out, but
no, thank God you did.
At the same time, it's PP God against Knight, actually. You know, that's the one fans are excited to see. But Sunni versus BLG will follow. That'll also be an interesting one with BLG back in form.
It must have been a long night. Imagine if we went to 6 games, it would have been 11:30 at that point as well.
It would have.
We're sitting at about, what, 10:15 right now? I just looked at my watch.
10:17 in 20 seconds.
We got a mighty clock in the corner that you can't see. So it was a long night, but some fun League of Legends to say the least. The second series especially, RNG coming back is like, oh, okay.
Look, hysterics.
Okay.
Whenever I'm here casting the LPL with you, with the fans in Twitch, with RNG picking up a series, it's always a good night.
All right, well, we're going to leave you with this sappy guy. Big thank you to Lyric and our English production team. We'll be back with you tomorrow for the start of Week 7. We only have 10 weeks in the regular season. That's how close we're running out to. It is bye for now, but not forever. See you tomorrow.
The sun is high, but I wish I could bathe in